Hey, what's going on everyone? It's TradeMark here, and today I'm going to be talking about the Elite Lone Wolf operations. Haha. I know that a lot of my videos lately have been about that, so I apologize if you don't care about them, but I compete in just about every one of them, well, all the ones with prizes, so I'm going to talk about that today. Now, if you follow operations at all, you know that as soon as the event ends and the leaderboards are posted, a flood of comments go into the elite feed, and most of these comments basically say what a cheating, hacking, boosting faggot the winner champion of the event is. And they might use different terminology, but the general idea is there that they feel the winner is not legitimate. Now, as I've already won several of these operations, I felt like I could create a video here and perhaps educate some of you about the operations, and also perhaps diffuse some of the hate that champions and winners get in these operations. Because, I mean, I personally feel that a lot of the hate and accusations just come from a place of ignorance, or perhaps mostly just players that are uninformed about the operations. So let's go ahead and talk about these trolls or haters. Now, the first comment I want to address is a comment about Activision in general, or Beachhead, or Elite in general. After each operation, you'll see quite a few people who are like, "F you, Elite! Give me my money back, Activision!" And I mean, mostly they're mad because they feel like they're not getting a fair shot at winning these competitions because they're rewarding cheaters. Now, to anyone that says Elite is not doing anything to look out for boosters, that couldn't be any further from the truth. Beachhead Studios is a division of Activision, which basically runs the Call of Duty Elite website and all the competitions. Now, inside of Beachhead Studios is a division of their company called the Pathfinder team, and I already discussed this in a previous video, but I'll quickly talk about it again. The Pathfinder team's entire job is to review winners to verify legitimacy. And what that entails is that basically whenever a person wins something, or let's say there's multiple winners, let's say there's top 10 win a t-shirt, the Pathfinder team will go through and review those 10 players' recent games, all of the games that happened during the competition, and they'll go through and watch the gameplay and ensure that they weren't boosting or cheating. So basically you can rest a little easier knowing that there's an entire division of a company that their entire job is to look over these operations and ensure that people are not playing unfair. If you follow the operations, you'll also know that in just about every competition, someone's removed from the leaderboards because they were doing exactly that. They were cheating or boosting or whatever, and they get removed, and I've seen it happen time and time again. However, if you think that for some reason Beachhead passed over someone who is cheating in a competition and you feel they weren't legitimate, you can actually report hackers or cheaters as it shows in the support section of the FAQs. You can click on the Contact Us page and you can fill out a little form about who you think was boosting or cheating. Now, it is important to note that if you report too many people inaccurately and they're not actually boosting, you could actually be penalized as well. So be very careful. Don't just randomly report people because you think they're cheating. I mean, have some evidence or some proof before doing it. Okay, so now the second ignorant comment that I want to address is that you'll see a lot of comments after a champion wins a competition, especially an operation like Wicked Dominator, where you'll see a bunch of comments about how the winner was cheating because he was playing a lone wolf operation with his friends. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you an FAQ right here. And you'll notice that Elite or Beachhead themselves have actually already talked about this. They say that yes, you can play either alone or with your friends to compete in lone wolf operations. However, only your own stats are going to count towards the operation. Now, they also mentioned that they're going to be checking for any collusion or cheating with your friends. So what does this mean for you? Basically, you can play on the same team as your friends, but don't play against your friends for the purpose of boosting your statistics. One is cheating, one is not. Now, I know some of you guys are going to say that that is not fair, either because you don't have people to play with, or you feel like lone wolf operations should be, like the title suggests, a lone competition. And I'm going to have to kind of agree with you. I believe that lone wolf operations should be a solo competition. However, it's a little more difficult than that. I can foresee a few issues that you're going to have if you try and make these events solo. First of all is, how are you going to know if a player is playing solo? I mean, for something like domination, you could just as easily get a team together that's not on your friends list and play with people, and they wouldn't know that you know those people or that you're not playing with friends. So I see that difficulty. The only way I can really see it happening is if Beachhead teamed up with Sledgehammer and Infinity Ward, and they released a playlist similar to Mercenary, or even during the competitions, if they just made Mercenary the actual playlist that you would play in, and close off join in progress, so you can't join in with your friends, and basically just kind of have this mercenary style playlist where everyone's by themselves as a solo lone wolf. You could even call the playlist Lone Wolf whatever, blah blah blah. So I agree in that sense, but until, you know, Beachhead does what's necessary, or maybe not even Beachhead, Infinity Ward does what's necessary to allow us to play solo without anyone else playing as groups, you play with your friends if you want to win certain competitions. That being said, there's also a lot of operations where you don't want to play with your friends. You know, if you're trying to get a lot of kills in TDM, you might not want to play with your friends, because if you have a lot of really good friends, they're stealing all your kills, or not stealing, but you know, they're taking a lot of the kills. Alright, now the next ignorant comment that I want to address is people that say that's just not possible. Now, I see this all the time in the leaderboards. As soon as someone wins, there will always be a comment that's like, it's impossible to get 300 defends in that amount of time. Or they'll be like, there's no way you can get that many kills in that time. You're such a cheating, boosting faggot, blah, 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 back to square one, right? And, you know, what I'm going to say is that, for the most part, it's impossible to get those statistics with your frame of mind. And what I mean by that is, if you're looking at it as going into an operation or an objective, and you're just going to play Call of Duty, you're just going to play, and you know, you're just going to play like you always play, and you're just going to try and get defense, and you're just going to try and get captures, and you're just going to try and get kills, you're going to lose. And you're going to look at the statistics and you're going to feel like it's impossible to get those amount of scores. And that's because you're thinking the wrong way. Now, I've won enough of these operations to understand that when you go into these competitions, your entire focus needs to be on that objective, whatever it is. So if you're playing for free-for-all kills, the winner is not going to be someone who has the highest kill-death ratio and the best win-loss ratio. That's not how it works. Because it's a timed competition, the winner is going to be the person who is able to fit in the most games during that time frame and get the most 30 kill wins during that time frame. I mean, that's really what it boils down to, is the person that can be playing the most and racking up the most amount of kills as quickly as possible. Now, I remember back in the beta, one of the very first free-for-all operations I competed in, I remember that I tried so hard in it, and I got like 600 kills or something. And I remember seeing someone at like 750 kills, and I was just thinking to myself, what? That's crazy, you know? How could they get over 700 kills when I won every single game that I played in? I did everything right. I called in all my kill streaks every game. You know, I didn't lose once. I have perfect win-loss, perfect KD, blah, blah, blah. And I was looking at it completely the wrong way, because that winner had almost 5 more games than me during the 3-hour time slot. And he won not because maybe he's better than me, but because he was more efficient at doing that objective. And so I adjusted my state of mind. I adjusted my strategy and my classes, and I rethought how I was going to do things. And the next competition I broke 700 kills, and then I broke 800 kills, and this next free-for-all operation I plan on breaking 900 kills. You know, it's all about focusing on your objective. And if all you can think about is that something is impossible and that it's not achievable, then you won't achieve it. I can promise you that. Okay, so how do you do this? I mean, how do you adjust your state of mind, and how do you play to win? Well, I'm going to tell you. So, I'm going to talk about 5 tips that I've used in every operation I've played in that have allowed me to win thousands of dollars worth of prizes competing in these competitions. Tip number 1, focus on your objective. Now, when I say focus on the objective, I don't mean the game's objective, I don't mean winning, but the actual operation objective. If you're trying to compete in Wicked Dominator and your entire focus is getting flag caps, well then all you should be focusing on is running to the next capture point. If you're trying to get the most kills, your entire focus should be getting your next kill. So focus on the objective and don't lose sight of what you're trying to do. Too many players just kind of get caught up in just playing the game, and they just play it like they're used to playing it, and they forget what they're actually working towards. To give you guys an example, let's say that I'm playing free-for-all and someone kills me in final stand. Sometimes I just hate that I got killed so much by, you know, some ridiculous death streak that I actually just, when I spawn, I run directly back to that spot and I completely lose focus of what's important. Basically, all I want is revenge. And in doing so, I might pass by several kills on the way, or I might even die running back there. And losing sight of your objective, even just for a moment to go get a revenge kill, can severely hurt your chances in winning an operation. Tip number 2, be efficient. Now, the first tip was to focus on your objective. The second tip is basically to complete that objective as efficiently as possible. So let's say that you're competing in a free-for-all kills competition. The first tip would be to focus on getting your next kill, while the second tip would be to focus on getting that kill as quickly as possible. The faster that you complete games and the more times that you complete an objective each game equals the higher score you're going to get at the end of the competition. So, as you can see, in a free-for-all kills competition, it's very important to not only get kills, but get them in as quickly as possible and finish as many games as possible during the allotted time. Going along with being efficient is that you also shouldn't fight a losing battle. If you're playing against a team that is not helping you complete your objective, or if you're playing in a room that is only hurting you, you need to find a new room. Staying in a stagnant room that's not helping you is asking for a loss. Tip number 3, have a strategy. When you're competing in these operations, if you want to win, you need to sit down and think of a strategy. You need to figure out what class loadouts you're going to use. You need to know which maps you want to play on and which ones you're going to vote for when they come up against each other. You need to know approximately how many objectives or kills you're going to need each game in order to place where you want to place. And you need to figure out how you're going to get that many objectives within the time frame of the operation. All of these things are things that players often overlook when they're competing in an operation. Having a strategy is crucial to doing well in these competitions. When I won the Jeep, I had already participated in about 4 other Domination Defend operations without a win. I would watch the winner's recent games, which is something you could do back in Black Ops, and I would write down notes about how I could do better, and then I would adjust my strategy for the next operation. And when I won the Jeep, I had been formulating a plan for over 2 weeks. I even drew up diagrams of each map with positions and arrows pointing to each one of my teammates on choke points that I wanted them to use in order to maximize the chances of me being able to get an objective. Tip number 4, adapt. Your strategy isn't always going to work out exactly like you want it to. While we were competing for the Jeep, my Xbox had some issues and I couldn't load the game for over 20 minutes. After finally getting back into the game, I realized that we needed to do something different in order to pass the leader up. So I adjusted our strategy, and I decided to use a more aggressive 3-cap strategy that had a higher risk-reward factor, and it ended up paying off because we won the Jeep. Now, if you're competing in an operation, you need to be able to adapt your playstyle and your strategy when you realize that you're not going to do good enough to finish where you want to finish. On that same token, after you finish a operation, what you want to do is you want to learn from that. You want to adapt your strategy according to how you played. If you realize that something wasn't working, adjust it for the next time. Or let's say that you saw something that someone else in the competition was doing that was really beneficial for them. Maybe you can implement that or a portion of that into your own strategy. And finally, we get to tip number 5, have a positive attitude. Now, I know that sounds silly, but it's the truth. Having a positive attitude can really help you do well in elite operations. Now, I know that this game can be aggravating, frustrating at times, and I've had my rage moments just like everybody else. But in order to do well over an extended period of time, like these competitions last, you really need to stay positive. You see, negativity feeds off of other negativity. I mean, you've heard the expression that misery loves company, right? I mean, it's because it's true. If you allow yourself to focus on all the bad things happening in a game, you can really psych yourself out and end up losing sight of your goal. I was a collegiate football player, and one thing that I remember my coach teaching me is that you need to have a short memory in collegiate sports. When you make a mistake, you need to accept it, learn from it, and then you need to forget about it and move on. Dwelling on that mistake only makes things worse. Just this week, we're actually competing in a domination defense operation for an iPad 2. I had the flu and I wasn't feeling very well at all, and I was just getting angry at everything. I was getting mad at the game, at my teammates, at myself. In fact, halfway through the competition, I even threw up. I was feeling terrible and I missed an entire game, and we ended up losing by 9 defense. Now, I'm convinced that if I had not been such an ornery cuss during that entire competition, and if I had been focusing on the positive things that were happening, not only would I have played better, but my teammates would have played better, and we would have won the operation. I'm sure of it. But anyways, I decided to adjust my attitude, and I came back this week and I already won 2 operations and 2 brand new Astro gaming headsets along with them. But anyways guys, one final thing I wanted to touch on before I go is the 2 types of gamers I've been running into lately on Xbox Live. I've really been reminded of this since I started competing in these operations, but it seems to me that there are 2 types of gamers out there when it comes to Xbox Live. There are gamers that build others up, and then there are gamers that tear others down. Without fail, every time I win a competition, I get flooded with messages on Xbox Live. Some of these messages are positive, uplifting ones, saying things like congratulations or good job. The rest of those messages are negative, degrading ones, saying all sorts of hateful, ignorant, and horrible things. Now, you might not be the type of person to send other people messages over Xbox Live, but just think to yourself for a second. Just think, are you the type of gamer who builds others up, or are you the type of gamer who tears others down? If you're the type of gamer who tears others down, ask yourself why. I mean, why is it that you feel the need to bring others down? Perhaps it's the anonymity of the internet, because you feel safe behind your TV and your gamer tag, and you feel like you can say whatever you would like to other people without any of the unwanted consequences. Or perhaps it's a feeling of superiority. Perhaps you feel like you're better than all those around you, and you have a right to put them in their place. Whatever the reason, look inside yourself and ask yourself why you choose to tear others down instead of build them up. I have noticed this develop within myself over the past couple of years playing online games. Times where I tear someone down and say hurtful things for one reason or another. But I have decided to make a conscious decision to change. I want to be a gamer who builds others up instead of one who tears others down. I have realized that tearing others down, regardless of the reason, only hurts them and yourself in the long run. You know, in 10 years, I want my children to have the same experiences playing video games as I once did the first time I played Duck Hunt or Street Fighter 2. I want them to be able to get online and play a video game and just have fun without having to be insulted, ridiculed, or put down for one reason or another. So just look inside yourself and ask yourself what type of a person you are. Then decide what type of a person you want to be. If you come to the same conclusion as I did, make a conscious effort to build others up as you play games online. A little good can go a long way, and I think that through that good, others can continue to have an enjoyable time playing video games online with each other for years to come. You see, I'm a gamer through and through, and I'm proud of it, but I want others to know that a good gamer can also be a good person as well. So anyways guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope this helps you do better in the elite competitions, and I hope it helps you become a better person and a gamer as well in the process. Anyways, thanks for watching. Malo Alpito, I'm out of here.